What is infrastructure? Infrastructure describes essential facilities, services, and organizational structures for communal use, most commonly by residents of cities and towns. We often describe infrastructure in terms of how a nation can help corporations move and deliver their goods. Resources like water, electricity, sewage, and merchandise are all about movement and delivery via infrastructure, and are key elements of infrastructure. There are two basic ways to think about infrastructure: hard infrastructure and soft infrastructure. Hard infrastructure refers to the physical networks necessary for the functioning of a modern industry: roads, bridges, railways, ports, airports, etc. Soft infrastructure refers to all the institutions that maintain the economic health, social, and cultural standards of a country, such as educational programs, parks and recreational facilities, law enforcement agencies, and emergency services. The government can also play a large role in the development of infrastructure. Governments can provide a lot of capital that funds essential hard and soft infrastructure for society, like schools, courts, electrical grids, telecommunications, waterways, and much more. These types of government-funded infrastructure are also known as public works. There is also personal infrastructure. A way to embody personal infrastructure is to think of it in terms of human capital. Human capital is defined as intangible collective resources possessed by individuals and groups within a given population. The goal of personal infrastructure is to determine the quality of the economic agent's values. This results in three major tasks: the task of economic proxies in the economic process, the importance of personal infrastructure for an individual, and the social relevance of personal infrastructure. Why is this important? Infrastructure provides opportunity for economic growth, jobs, and access to markets and services. Infrastructure is supposed to facilitate and spur economic growth by providing better connectivity and enhancing productivity and efficiency. Air and marine transport links, roads, and energy generation are all needed for the provision of reliable services and enables businesses to grow and expand. In a way, infrastructure runs and governs our everyday lives. It provides and manages the roads we drive on, water we drink, food we eat, waste we produce, energy we utilize, and the money we make. It is the fundamental facilities and systems that provide all the necessary services and goods we use and consume every day. It is vital for emerging economies to realize their aspirations. It is vital for the mother who hopes that the water coming out of the pipe is clean and available so her children do not get sick. It is vital for the informal settlement dweller who wants his children to study but cannot afford an electricity bill. And it is vital for the farmers who need all-weather roads and reliable shipping to get their goods to market. Infrastructure matters to everyone. In our generations, millennials are playing a large role in influencing the future of global infrastructure. Millennials have different lifestyle motivations that are shaping different demands for infrastructure improvements. Exploring, traveling, and experiencing the world are important interests of millennials. Revamping airports and railways are essential to this demand. Transit-oriented design becomes more prevalent as millennials are moving into cities and causing rapid urbanization. Millennials also feel a great sense of social responsibility to fix the problems of past generations. We are looking for and creating more sustainable practices. Together, as a generation, we can improve and influence positive change in infrastructure to improve our overall quality of life. What are some of the constraints we face today? Our economy and finances greatly depend on gas and many other toxic elements that are responsible for pollution. These pollutants continue to increase annually. There is now a battle between continuing to support our economic foundation versus developing a new foundation for sustainable infrastructure. Long-term, sustainable building would reduce the amount of pollution, but is initially very expensive. To catalyze these changes, we require a shift in the worldview from treating the environment as part of the economy to treating the economy as part of the environment. Strategically, this means that the economy should be adapted to ensure environmental services are maintained. In the education sector, there is a lack of innovation-oriented research. This means that there needs to be a closer connection between research institutes and the economy. There is also inadequate interaction between civil society and government. and insufficient incentives for the private sector to pursue sustainable development. Another problem is the lack of specific targets, either globally, nationally, or at the local level, as well as a lack of measurement and data to track progress, which results in a lack of information available to decision makers. There is a call for strengthening of monitoring and evaluation processes of sustainable development strategies in order to establish a dynamic improvement process, yet none have been created. Institutional barriers have been combating and frustrating sustainable development goals in many developing countries, and inadequate economic, social, and environmental methods for policies, plans, and projects are the major barrier to the implementation of sustainable development. So, how will the future state of the AEC industry improve infrastructure, capital expenditures, and sustainability? Ideally, some of the trends we see today will continue and will help improve all of these things. So let's take a look at where our industry is taking us. Trend number 1 is BIM, or Building Information Modeling. Studies have shown that increased use of BIM software has positively influenced on-site coordination of material installation, which decreases project costs. BIM also helps improve a building's performance by allowing trades to collaborate effectively. Higher and better performing buildings are changing the way we look at sustainability by changing the norm and making buildings more cost-effective for owners. BIM also has global applications. When BIM is implemented for developing infrastructure for a particular nation, it can show its cascading effect to its neighbors. This is a vital idea that can help many countries with poorer infrastructure but strong neighbors. Strong trade channels can incentivize collaboration and sharing of infrastructure and can catalyze improvements in other countries or even global areas. The funds saved can be efficiently used for replacing the international aging roads and rail network, because even retrofitting existing infrastructure will invite heavy investments and funding from external sources. This trend also encourages CapEx investments, as companies compete with each other to be the best and are constantly forced to improve, adapt, and innovate. Trend number 2 is project delivery. Design build is a continuing and growing trend in the AEC, with general and trade contractors hiring more technical and experienced engineers to support their in-house design projects. The fight for design work between the two industries will continue to grow, forcing more capital expenditures for companies to remain competitive in the industry. IPD is a newer project delivery method that is growing. Integrated project delivery allows for all members of a project to meet and collaborate early. This means better, faster projects that create higher performing buildings for less money. Projects like these incentivize spending upfront for large returns in the future, which helps stimulate economy. In a sustainability lens, the benefits of the IPD method is that of energy conservation, water conservation, or indoor air quality measures that can be fully integrated into the building design and formed early on, rather than simply being added alternates. Sustainability goals that are not cost-effective or feasible within the project budget are eliminated right away, preventing time wasted assessing measures and design features that were never going to happen. Now that we know the inner workings of infrastructure, who does it really benefit? With infrastructure, we can see a positive increase in an area's economy. Infrastructure projects provide construction jobs to build the project, but also future maintenance jobs to keep it running. Businesses can also take advantage of infrastructure. Projects involving transportation and roadwork can reduce traffic, and renovating ports and waterways can create more efficient importing and exporting. Also, telecommunication projects can give offices more dependable systems to be able to run their businesses. With updating and creating new projects, infrastructure projects try to help the environment rather than hurt it. With new infrastructure, we can see projects with increased life cycles, which increases a building's performance and decreases materials wasted. In regards to infrastructure involving energy, we want to see projects that use renewable energy and reduce our carbon footprint. The same goes with water projects. The goal is to reduce water use or lower negative impacts that are typically associated. Lastly, we, people, benefit from infrastructure. Most of the time, infrastructure is created to increase the standard of living. We see better hospitals, transit systems, parks, cleaner water, and so much more. Without infrastructure on both the public and private levels, who knows where we would be today.